fans who are sitting in this room. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. We have more than 1,400 Me fans in this hall, in this stadium, and this is probably our biggest ever launch event. I've been told we have fans coming from all across the country, from north, west, east, and south. One of the Me fans walked up to me and told me that he even traveled more than 20 hours on train to attend this launch event. So thank you so much, guys. Okay, so my name is Manu. I'm very fortunate to lead the coolest and the most loved technology brand in the country. Now, before we start, these are some of the hashtags that we're using for today. 5 of them. If you're tweeting live or if you're posting on social media, please use all of them or at least one of them. Okay, so let's get started. This is a very special moment for us. We just completed 5 years in India. And hence we have, thank you. And hence we have 5 surprises planned for all of you guys. 5 surprises. Now, in these 5 years, we have sold 100 million smartphones till date only in India. 100 million smartphones means we have sold 20 million smartphones every single year, 1.6 million smartphones every single month, and more than 50,000 smartphones every single day during this last 5 years. So thank you so much, guys, for making this happen. We recently launched 2 new smartphones, Redmi 8A and Redmi 8. Redmi 8A has a lot of new things in this particular price segment. 5000 mAh battery, 18-watt fast charge support, Gorilla Glass 5, P2i nano coating, wireless FM radio, and an amazing, incredible device. And we have let go of 2GB, 16GB, and we are starting with 2GB, 32GB, and 3GB, 32GB at 649 and 6999. And last week we launched Redmi 8, the elder brother, which had all these amazing things and was priced at 7999 for the 4GB, 64GB. And while we have been launching these smartphones, but of course all of you guys know that we are more than a smartphone company. We are an IoT company, we are an ecosystem company, and last month we launched 4 new IoT ecosystem products. Mi Smart Water Purifier, Mi Smart TVs, Mi Soundbar, and of course something that all of you guys were asking for, which is Mi Band 4. Mi Smart Water Purifier was a product which was designed in India for India. This model does not exist anywhere else in the world. It has been designed to keep in mind the needs of Indian consumers, given power shortage and water shortage. And Mi Smart TVs, we launched 4K TVs above 43 inch. So even at 43 inch, now we are able to offer 4K panel to all our Mi fans. And all these products were available during our Diwali sale, which started a few weeks ago. Now this was really incredible because we had beaten the best ever brand in Diwali sale, incidentally which happened to be Xiaomi last year. We sold a whopping 5.3 million units during our first wave, week 1, 5.3 million units, out of which 3.8 million was smartphones, more than 1 million smart IoT devices, ecosystem products, and more than 2.5 lakh of our smart TVs. This means we had sold more than 500 products every single minute during this wave, and we grew a whopping 50% year on year. So thank you so much, everybody. Now, the first product of the first surprise that we have planned for today is an ecosystem product. And this is something which is truly special and very dear to my heart. And this is a very big problem, and it's a problem that will only increase in this period, which is winters. And that problem is air pollution. In fact, if you look at the 20 most polluted cities in the world, 14 of them are in India. 1-4. And not just this, this air pollution increases even further during the winter season. I have an example of AQI index in Delhi NCR. As you can see in Q1, which is end of winters, the air pollution is high. It continues to come down in Q2, is probably the lowest in Q3 when it is the rainy season. And in Q4, which is October, November, December, the beginning of winter season, it dramatically increases a lot more. And this is the average, guys, average across entire NCR during that particular period. To solve this problem, we have already launched 2 air purifiers till now, Me Air Purifier 2 and 2S, which were launched in 2016 and 18. And today we are launching a new air purifier, which has been again designed in India for India, which does not exist anywhere else in the world. And we're calling this as Me Air Purifier 2C. And to introduce this product, let me show you a quick video. So this air purifier, Me Air Purifier 2C, it has been designed for India. It has a dual filtration technology. It has a HEPA filter, which can clean up to 99.97% of indoor pollution. And it has an incredible CADR, clean air delivery rate of 350 cubic meter per hour. A really, really great device for Indian conditions. And this product we are launching at only rupees 6,499. So this is Me Air Purifier 2C. You can start buying it today, which is at 4 o'clock on me.com. And in just few days, from day after tomorrow, it will be available across Amazon, Flipkart, Me Home stores, and will be available across all our offline stores. Now, that was the first surprise or first product for today. Now, Xiaomi is a smartphone company. Xiaomi is an IoT company. Xiaomi is also an internet company. And we have our own operating system called as MIUI, and we're launching the next version of it. And to talk more about this, let me call on stage my colleague, Mr. Murli, who is the COO for India business.
Thank you so much, Manu. And wow, look at all of you. This is an awesome experience, fantastic. My name is Murli Krishnan, and I run operations for Xiaomi in India. And today, I'm here to talk about something that's very, very special to all Mi fans, which is MIUI, Xiaomi's own custom Android experience. But first, some really interesting numbers. Did you know that there are 80 million monthly active users on MIUI? 80 million, 8 crore Mi fans using MIUI any given month. And if that's not an awesome enough number, did you know that 80 million number accounts for 20% of all internet users in India in any given month? 1 in 5 internet users is using MIUI in India, and that is truly awesome. MIUI has had a long legacy. We've been at it for about 4-5 years now, starting version 7. We've been customizing, adding many features that are relevant to Indian users, and we have the last version which is MIUI 10. And today, it is my privilege to introduce the next evolution of MIUI in India. Thank you. MIUI 11. I'll talk about what it has in store for you in terms of design, what it has in store for you to make your work life more productive, and what it has in store for you to make your daily life, your personal life, a lot more easier, a lot more exciting. Let's talk about design first. In MIUI 11, we've taken a huge, big step forward in cleaning up many of the elements of the UI to ensure that the content and the features are the heroes. We've removed and eliminated and polished a whole lot of colors to give this entire look and make it look like a lot more organic, a lot more natural. And with all of these changes, MIUI is designed clearly to be the ultimate full screen experience. But that's not all. With the increasing popularity of dark mode, trust me, MIUI 11 looks even better on the dark side. Thank you. The next aspect of MIUI that I want to talk about is that it's always on. Always on for the always on generation. Isn't it a little bit unfortunate that all phones pretty much look the same when they are locked? All phones, they look the same when they're locked. It's just a black screen. With the Redmi K20 series, we did something interesting. We added clock styles to make that phone look a little bit exciting. With MIUI 11, we're taking that one step further. We are adding a nice, beautiful, animated, dynamic clock on your lock screen with MIUI 11. But that's not all. We said there's perhaps more that we can do. And for that, we dug deep into our childhood for inspiration. Remember these? The kaleidoscopes? We took exactly this for inspiration and we put this wonderful, beautiful, symmetric patterns onto your lock screen, and it actually makes it blossom and it looks beautiful. And you can customize this and have multiple patterns adorning your lock screen. But there are those who wanted even more personalized. We said, sure, let's satisfy them too. With MIUI 11, you can add your own custom code, your motivational message, pretty much whatever you want, and add it to your lock screen. And my personal favorite will always be "Know Me Without You." Thank you. So there you have it. MIUI, always on for the always on generation, just the way you want it. Moving on, we've also reimagined the notification light. And you do realize that a lot of high-end phones of late have done away with the notification light. But our Mi fans, our Mi users have given us feedback that they truly like it, they appreciate it, it serves a functional purpose. So with the Redmi K20 series, we introduced it, but we introduced it in a very innovative way because it's a full screen. There is no space for a notification light. We put it on the top where the pop-up camera is, and people said, yeah, that's nice, that's cool. But there was still scope to make this even more exciting. So with MIUI 11, we've made the entire screen breathe and come alive for notifications. And this is clearly amongst the most beautiful, aesthetically the most pleasing things that I have seen in MIUI 11. Moving on from the lock screen, let's come to the wallpaper carousel. This is something that we have done in partnership with the team at Glance, where we have a different image adorning your lock screen every time you light it. Typically, your lock screen has the same image every time, which perhaps is not the best in terms of personalization. So what we have done in partnership with the Glance team is to add the ability to have a different image appear on your lock screen. It is curated. You can set your preferences on what kind of images that you'd want to see. Some people might want cars, some people might want actors, some people might want sports. So you can choose the preferences, and every time a different image appears. Did you know that the average user lights up their phone? I'm not saying unlock, but just lights up the phone 200 times a day. So which effectively means that 200 times you would see a different image of where you have set the preference adorning your lock screen, and that is super cool. We've been testing this for about a few months now, and today we have over 2 billion images being served on various lock screens for our users' preferences, and that number is growing by leaps and bounds. Thank you. Moving on from the lock screen, the next big aspect of personalization is the desktop. It's the wallpaper. And a lot of you know that MIUI has an extremely popular themes app. This themes app has a collection of over 1 lakh desktop wallpapers for the smartphone, which perhaps makes it amongst the largest collection of smartphone wallpapers in India. Of course, these are static wallpapers. What if you could add a little bit of excitement to it? So we've done just that with dynamic wallpapers for MIUI. This is good, but it's not enough. What if you could take this to the next level and make this the ultimate personalization tool, the ultimate expression of your personality? With MIUI 11, we have introduced dynamic video wallpapers. You can take pretty much any video that you want. Thank you. You can take pretty much any video that you want. It could be your family members, it could be a friend, it could be a child, it could be a pet, it could be a significant live event. You pick up that video, set it as a video wallpaper. Every time you unlock your phone and get to your desktop, you have that video playing. For me, that is super ultimate feature in terms of personalization. So there you have and the video wallpaper. All of this makes MIUI the ultimate visual experience. Moving on. We sold over 100 million smartphones over the last 5 years, and a lot of our users, a lot of our Mi fans quite obviously use their phones in work situations. And therefore, we put on our thinking hat and try to figure what else can we do to make their work life more productive. And the first part that I want to talk about is documents. We deal with them all the time, more specifically in work situations. You already know that we have a super popular file manager integrated into MIUI, where all the files of different file types are consolidated into one single app, and you can kind of look at them, copy them, move them, delete them, do everything. But the one consistent feedback that we have received on this is that it's very difficult to find the file that you want by typing the file name. It's super difficult, and we appreciate that. We understood it. So we said, if that's the feedback, we need to solve for it, and we did by having thumbnails of various files in the file manager neatly categorized by file types. If you look at the tabs on the top, you have all PDF, Excel, PowerPoint, very, very neatly categorized and super easy to find, just as you would on your Windows or Mac laptops. But that's not all. In a work situation or in any situation, if you've taken the trouble of launching the file manager and finding the file that you want, you'd obviously want to view it. Typically what happens is if it's a Word document, then when you click on that icon, it opens Microsoft Word on your phone, and then the other app has to launch. That's obviously a productivity drain. We said, sure, let's solve for that. With MIUI 11's file manager, you can preview any document within the comfort of the file manager without any additional app. And that's super efficient, that's super productive, that's super cool. Thank you. And this document viewer can support a multitude of file formats, be it PDF, Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentations. A whole multitude of file formats are supported. You get the thumbnails, you click on them, you open, and boom, your work gets done. The next big part of feedback that we have received on MIUI is that, hey, you guys don't make it easy for me to manage my task list. You guys don't make it easy for the tasks functionality integrated into the Notes app. You can now add various tasks. You can add a due date to them. It gets automatically synchronized with your calendar and makes your entire work life a lot more productive and you're able to focus on the things that need to get done right now. But that's not all. There are various moments when you think of something that needs to get done and you don't have the time to open the keyboard and type and so on. Very simple. You just have to swipe right from the top. You have the universal entry into the to-do list. You have the entire to-do list appearing there. You add your tasks, you add your due dates, and boom, your work gets done. But that's not all. Just solving for universal entry isn't going to be enough. There are times when you don't have the time to type. And hence, with tasks, we have added the ability to add voice tasks, where you can just record a voice and the rest of it gets done as per the normal workflow of the task and to-do app. So that's how we are enabling you to get stuff done a lot more efficiently. Moving on to another feature that's very, very popular amongst me fans, which is the calculator. And we've put in some additional effort into making it more easier to use. And let me talk about a very interesting use case. Let's say you've been traveling to some place, and typically what you do, you record all your expenses, maybe in a Word document, in a text document, in your notes app, wherever it is. And at the end of the trip, you need to sum up exactly how much you have spent. That's a use case all of us have been through. Currently, when you toggle between the calculator and the notes app to keep checking the values and typing it into the calculator, that's super painful. We've solved this by introducing a floating calculator which appears as a picture-in-picture on top of any app. It could be the notes app, it could be a Word document, it could be a PowerPoint deck, it could be anything. We just make it so easy to complete your calculations, and this is extremely natural in terms of a use case, and it's coming to you with MIUI 11. And that's not all. The powerful MIUI calculator has 8 different calculators built in. You can calculate your age, in case you wanted a calculator to do that. You can calculate the number of days left for your next birthday, your EMIs, your body mass index, splitting the bill, 8 different functionalities, all built in to our calculator. And all of these put together will make your work life a lot more productive. But what do we have in store for you to make your personal life easier, to make your daily life easier? The first one that we have introduced is the step tracker. We've realized with increasing focus on health and physical well-being, a lot of users track their daily activity as to the number of steps that they have traveled, etc., the number of calories that they have burned. And we've also realized that most people typically carry their smartphone with them throughout the day, unless you're sleeping. So we've built in a step tracker straight into MIUI 11. This would enable you to track the number of steps, the total distance traveled, the total calories, as well as whether you've met your step tracking goal for the day or not. And you have all the data trends for you to track whether you're becoming healthier and more active. And all of this is easily accessible by swiping right from the home screen in your app vault. That's the step tracker in MIUI 11. For our women users, we've added the ability to track your periods, to track your menstrual cycles. No more trying to remember when the next due dates are. It gets automatically synced into your calculator, into your calendar, and you know exactly what your dates are. All of this built into MIUI 11. But the one feature that all of us are really excited about is this, quick replies. And let's talk about a use case again. Let's say you're watching a video, right? And it's really an engaging video, and you receive an incoming call. Of course, the one question is whether you need to answer the call or not, but if it's from the boss, you better answer the call. And when you do take the call, you can take the call without exiting the video. Now, this could be a video, this could be a game, this could be anything that you're doing. You can continue watching that video while taking the call, which makes it really cool in terms of multitasking. But it's not just with calling that this works. Thank you. But it's not just calling that this works. The more common use case is when I'm watching a video and I receive a message. Typically what happens when you click on the notification, you exit that video, you exit the game, and you land up on that messaging app, and the entire flow is lost, right? Super painful if you're playing a game. Not anymore. With the MIUI Quick Replies feature, I'm playing a game or watching a video, I receive the notification, it opens a window, a small picture-in-picture with your messaging app. You can look at the message, you can respond to it, you can do pretty much whatever you want to without exiting the video or the game or whatever it is that you're doing, which truly makes this the ultimate in terms of multitasking. And the best part of the quick replies feature is that you can choose on which specific app this functionality needs to work. Maybe you're someone who loves social media, you're into videos and so on and so forth. You can say it's only on videos that this needs to work, not on some other app that you use more for work scenarios. So a quick recap of what MIUI has in store for you: a clean, sleek, elegant, minimalistic design, a wonderful array of features to make your work life more productive, and well thought through features to make your personal life more exciting. But that's not all that we have in MIUI. There are many more features which, given the constraints of time, I am unable to cover today. Please stay tuned to our social media channels. We'll continue introducing each of these features over the subsequent days and weeks, and I'm sure you'll love pretty much all of them. So that was MIUI, but I'm not done yet. I have one more super cool thing to talk about, and this pertains to languages. India, as you know, is a land of a multitude of languages, and each one of us at any point of time probably knows 2-3 languages and converses in all of them. However, when it comes to the internet, for various reasons, it's predominantly English-based. The thought that came to us is a lot of us think in our native language. I, for one, think in Tamil. And it's a lot more easier to converse and communicate in your native language, especially when you need to express an emotion. We said this needs a solution. So for the first time anywhere in the world, Xiaomi is launching a keyboard called Mint Keyboard, and we have done this in partnership with the super cool guys from the startup called Bobble, which is based here very much in Delhi NCR. Now, the Mint Keyboard supports English and 25 Indic languages. While the Mint Keyboard has all the bells and whistles of a regular keyboard, stuff like fonts, stuff like GIFs and stickers and swipe typing and so on, but there are 2 features that we are truly excited about. The first one of this is translation within transliteration. And let's talk about a use case. I'm trying to chat with my dad, and I'm typing in English, and I'm trying to tell him, very good news, Papa. Right? So if you notice, the typing is happening in English. The Mint Keyboard is configured to automatically not just transliterate it, but also translate that into Hindi, and it says, "Bahut acha samachar, Papa, thanks." And it also provides alternate suggestions in Hindi as well as English, and that makes it a super cool feature. Imagine the opportunities of clean, crisp communication this opens up across generations, courtesy this translation within transliteration feature in MIUI 11. And the other one, I think that deserves a bigger clap, guys. Thank you. The other cool feature is, look, no communication on the internet, especially on social media, is complete without an emoji to go with it. With the Mint Keyboard, we have built in the capability for real-time emoji suggestions that work not just with English, but also Hinglish. In this case, it says, "Bas bhai, padhai karni hai." And with padhai, you're automatically seeing books being shown as the emoji. So with this real-time emoji suggestions for Indic languages, and this works with Hindi too, the Mint Keyboard will suggest exactly the emoji that you want to express your emotion in that moment. The Mint Keyboard is currently available on the Google Play Store as well as on the Mi Get Apps store. So there you have it. That's MIUI 11, where life gets easier. But I'm sure there's one question that's still on top of your minds, which is the dates. What is the rollout timetable? The MIUI 11 rollout will start pretty much now in 6 days, starting the 22nd of October with with the super popular Poco F1, K20, and a few of the other models that we have launched recently, and there'd be a staggered rollout going all the way up till December. However, we see a new phone out there that we haven't launched yet, the Redmi Note 8 Pro. But I know someone who can tell you a lot about that new phone. I'd like to welcome on stage the Uber gamer Anuj Sharma.
Thank you. Thank you, Murli. Wow, I can't wait for these days. I've got one, two, I think most of my devices are covered. Anyways, I'm Anuj, and I lead the marketing at Xiaomi India. But before I get started on this section, here's an interesting data bit. I don't know if you guys realize this. Murli's name, initials, are MKB. And you were seeing him in HD. All right. So moving from a really, really poor joke to an awesome series, I want to talk about the Redmi Note series. Now, the Redmi Note has been the flagship holder of our philosophy, which is innovation for all. Time and again, we brought in various flagship features to the series and ensured that more and more of our fans could enjoy this. In fact, recently we reached a landmark number when it came to Redmi Notes. We announced that globally we have now sold more than 100 million Redmi Notes. And most of you guys would agree that that's not really a surprise looking at the lineup that we've had right from the Redmi Note 3. Do you guys remember the Redmi Note 3? Right. Now that was a breakthrough product where it became the #1 selling smartphone in the online space. Very next year, the Redmi Note 4 actually became the best seller across all platforms, all channels. It was the #1 selling phone in India. All the way to, of course, the Redmi Note 7 series, which we announced earlier this year at the same place, hopefully with some of you guys who all were here at that time. I can't see this, you guys have to talk. Now, this device was loved across the world. In fact, not just our fans, we got some raving reviews from the media, pretty much calling this a game changer under 20,000 rupees. And going beyond India, just for the Note 7 series, we've sold more than 20 million units globally. It continues to be a bestseller. It was one of the best-selling phones in the Diwali sales that Manu spoke about. In fact, the Note 7 series was the bestseller on Flipkart. And today, we are taking one giant leap forward. Let me introduce to you the all-new Redmi Note 8 Pro. Now, we are super excited about the Redmi Note 8 Pro. We were so excited that we built this really long hashtag, 64 MP quad camera beast, right? And each of these things were equally important to me. In fact, how many guys are there who are really interested in photography? Can I hear them? Okay. So that's one side. Where are my gamer friends at? Where are the gamers? Yeah. Gamers are louder, right? The camera guys need to buck up, but we've got a brilliant set here. And what's really interesting is, normally you get one or the other, right? So you get a phone which is focused on photography. And you get a phone which is focused on the gaming part of it. We believe that you should not have to choose. You get the best of both worlds, and we are doing exactly that on the Note 8 Pro. Now, the Note 8 Pro has a lot to talk about, but I'm going to limit it to 3 key things. That is the Aura design, a 64 megapixel quad camera array, and of course, it is a performance monster. The aura design part, and let's start into that. Now, aura design is something that we introduced with the Note 7 series. It fundamentally changed the design philosophy that we had on phones, and we are taking it a step forward. Now, aura design is not just how it looks. Design is also how easy it is to hold, the entire ergonomics, and while doing all of that, how do you retain the entire functionality? Now, with aura design, we are taking that to the next step, but first, let me show you how good this looks. So, introducing the first color of the all-new Redmi Note 8 Pro, and we are calling this color the Gamma Green. Looks absolutely stunning. Let's take another look at this. Now, this is an all-new color. We have never tried this, and if you look closely, the color on the back glass is matched with the frame. And these are two different materials. That means it took us almost 23 iterations to get this just perfect. And not just that, let's talk a bit more about the ergonomics bit here. Now, for the first time on the Redmi Note series, we are introducing an all-new four-sided curved rear glass. It's a huge step up from a 2.5D glass that you normally see. This makes it comfortable to hold either vertically or, of course, as the gamers would want it, even horizontally. So this is super comfortable to hold. Now, that is the Gamma Green. We've got one more color that all of you guys loved, and we've recently started experimenting with that, and that is the all-new Halo White. Now, this white, it's awesome the way it diffracts that light. It is unlike what you've seen before, but what we've also done is, as you saw, the Gamma Green had a green frame. In this case, the frame changes to a chrome because that fits in the best with this Halo White. And, of course, we have one more color, the classic, and perhaps Manu's favorite color of all times. Guesses? Yes, we have an all-new Shadow Black as well. Now, I'm calling this all new because this is unlike any other black that you've seen. There's still a texture under that glass. The way it plays with the light is very different. And of course, I've been talking about glass. You guys want to know what glass it has? Of course, not really a surprise when it comes to Xiaomi. With Xiaomi, you are guaranteed to have the best possible quality, and that's not a different case here. You get Gorilla Glass 5 at the back as well as the front. And going beyond just the physical durability, we've taken it one step further. For the very first time on the Redmi Note series, we've got an IP52 rating. Now, this is a huge, huge deal. Now, this obviously protects you against dust and splashes, but the entire protection has been stepped up even further. This perhaps is the only phone in its segment to have this rating. Now, that is the design part of it. Moving to the front. Now, we've got an immersive display when it comes to aura design, and this one is again a step forward. In fact, when we look at the display, the biggest challenge that we had was the bottom chin. And the chin is normally a little wider at the bottom because the display driver actually sits right under the display. And that IC needs that space to be able to hold that part. With the Note 8 Pro, what we've done is we've moved this chip into the flex itself. Now, this is an expensive mechanism, and because of this, you're able to fold it right back, and that gives you a much, much smaller chin than ever before. Now, why is this important? Because we were looking at a performance monster, because we were focusing on the camera, we wanted a really immersive display, which also meant that the distractions on the side had to be minimal. What did we achieve by doing all of this? Well, proud to say that this has the highest screen to body ratio that we've ever seen in this segment at 91.4%. With just about 2 millimeters up top and 4 millimeters at the bottom, thanks to the chip-on-film technology, we've taken it a whole new level. And the display obviously is more immersive, but it is also much more brighter than any Note before this. In fact, it is at 500 nits, our first HDR-enabled display on a Redmi Note. So whether you like to game in HDR or your favorite TV series or movies, you can enjoy them far better on the Note 8 Pro than anything else that you've seen in the segment before. So that summarizes the Aura design. What you had is a large 6.53-inch full high definition display. It supports HDR. It's brighter than ever before. Of course, you've got all the quality assurances. You've got Gorilla Glass 5 at the front as well as the back, but it's a special one at the back because it's got a four-sided curvature, and it comes in these three awesome looking colors. Now that's the Aura design. Moving on to what some part of the audience was really looking forward to, which is the 64 MP quad camera. Yeah? So should we talk about it? Okay. Let's get into the 64 megapixel part first. And let me show you a slide that you probably would have never expected in a Xiaomi event before this. So, like I said, we obviously have the belief of innovation for all. Luckily, we found partners in the Samsung imaging division which also held the same belief. They have worked with us over multiple sensors, providing high-resolution photography to consumers across different segments. And we've developed this. In fact, Xiaomi and Samsung in early August were the first to announce the sensor, and hence this became the first phone in the world to have a 64 megapixel sensor built in. Now this is obviously a giant step forward in photography. But what makes the 64 megapixel sensor really, really special are three technologies. There's super pixel technology, which means when the light is low, it's able to combine 4 adjacent pixels to create a much bigger pixel, which lets in a lot more light, and you get much brighter, clearer images, even in challenging lighting conditions. You've got a smart ISO. Now this intelligently detects the scene and ensures that your ISO levels are at a place where in any condition, your noise level is at the lowest. And this is obviously what we all want, because we want clarity in that image. And the last one, which is a technological breakthrough, is the ISOCell Plus. Now ISOCell Plus is special, and let me talk a bit more about this. Now when you look inside the sensor, you've got 64 million pixels. Now that's a lot to fit in, even though the sensor is much larger. In fact, it is 38% larger than a 48 megapixel camera sensor. But when you're packing in so much, you have different challenges. You have different imaging challenges, you have engineering challenges. So let's look at that. When you look at individual pixels, what started off about 6 to 7 years ago was a technology called BSI. Some of you would remember this, which basically ensured that it absorbed a lot more light, and you got much better, much more usable images than what you could get on smartphones earlier. When the megapixel count started going up and you had more and more complex situations where you wanted to use this camera, it moved on to each cell being isolated. Now what this helped with is the light which entered stayed within that cell, within that pixel. You didn't have too much of light bleed or color bleed, and it stayed there, which meant you got much more vibrant, better color reproduction, a little more accurate. But what was happening is right on top, if that light came in, it would get absorbed but would not really reach the sensor itself. We've obviously had to look at this because when you're packing in 64 million pixels into a sensor, you want every particle of light making it to the sensor. Also, the fact that it's so densely packed, you want that accuracy to stay. So for the first time ever, you've got the ISO Cell Plus technology. This extends the isolation barrier right to the top, which lets in a lot more light, and that's why your entire camera is able to deliver much, much better images than ever before. And that's the magic of the ISO Cell Plus. Now, what does the 64 megapixel get you? And what does it mean for a consumer or a photographer? Well, you get images like this. Now, this is a shot of the city of Jaipur. It's an amazing city. Anyone from Rajasthan here? You'll have to. Okay. So this is Jaipur. What's really amazing about this is you can see each and every house in this image. In fact, not just that, when you look closer and when you zoom in, you can see every window, every door, the entire clarity being kept there. And this is definitely possible because of such a large sensor. But then, of course, you've heard of 64 MP cameras, and you've seen competition, or at least one particular model have a 64. So we thought we'll kind of compare to see where we land. Now this is a 64 megapixel camera on the Realme XT. And that one is a photograph that's been taken on the Redmi Note. Right? Do you guys like what you see so far? Let's go a little closer and see what's the difference. So when you look at the sign, you can clearly see that the sign is still readable. Now it's inside, it's indoors, and of course with light coming from the back, it becomes really hard. But here's the kicker. The photograph that you see on the right side is actually the Redmi Note 7 Pro. In fact, when you add the Redmi Note 8 Pro to this comparison, it's on a whole new level. Let me zoom in, and you can start seeing the difference. The colors, the details, everything is far, far superior. Now, some of you must be wondering that how can two 64s be so different? Well, the answer actually is a team that makes all the difference. And in fact, that's the team that has been tuning all our cameras for India. All of our cameras for the last 2 years. So 2 years ago, we set up this team. And this awesome team is our camera imaging team that sits out of our Bangalore office. And can we have a shout out for them actually? Over years, they've gone through thousands and thousands of images. They've been tuning our cameras for the scenarios that make sense in India, looking at our skin tones, and of course the color preferences that we have. And that's what starts making a difference. It's a marriage of hardware and software, and that's enabled by this awesome team. And they and their efforts result in amazing photographs like this one. Now you've seen what it can do. Let's also look at how it compares with devices that are priced a lot higher. Now here's a Oppo Reno 2 and a OnePlus 7 Pro. I know they're 48, but the prices are still quite high. So might as well compare that, right? Let me zoom in a bit and start showing you the difference. When you zoom in, the clarity on the Note 8 Pro and the entire accuracy of the colors and the way the light has been treated is far superior. And this is obviously in the day, but it's not limited to that. You see the superiority even when you go into a lower light scenario. So let me show you the same three devices, but when the light conditions are challenging. Now on the Note 8 Pro, not only is it more accurate, the exposure has been kept in check. It's not blown out like the Reno 2. And of course, the smart ISO kicks in with the sensor, so you do not see the kind of noise that you see on the OnePlus 7 Pro. And that's where the camera starts shining. And that is, in fact, just the 64 megapixel. I said we've got 4 cameras, so let me show you those 4 cameras. You've got a primary 64 megapixel sensor, and that sits right in the middle. But along with that, for the very first time on a Redmi Note series, we've added a wide angle. In fact, it's ultra wide at 120 degrees. Not just that, another first, and perhaps my favorite camera in this entire setup, is a macro lens. And macro lens is quite interesting because it lets you see things that your normal human eye cannot. You see a lot more details, and to see those, you want to get really, really close. And we've enabled a 2 centimeter focal distance, letting you go really close. It's perhaps the best in the industry, and you get that on the Note 8 Pro. Of course, the Note series, right from the Redmi Note 5 Pro, has been known for portraiture, and you get that with a depth sensor as well. And that completes the 4 cameras that you're getting on the Note 8 Pro. Let me show you what each of these cameras can do, and it's quite amazing. First, the wide angle. Now you take a picture, right? Now this picture could be anywhere in the world. And of course, if you have that kind of a distance, you can only capture this much space. But when you switch to an ultra-wide mode, you can complete the entire picture, and you can see that he's pointing at the Mehrangarh Fort in Jodhpur. And that's why an ultra-wide becomes super important. Now, of course, you guys are going to love this ultra-wide. But what you're going to love more is, of course, the macro lens. In fact, by a 2 centimeter focal distance, you can have some magical images. Images like this. What you can clearly see is each pollen inside a flower. You can go that close. Like I said, only we can go that close, so unfortunately others blur out. But what's even better than taking a macro still, a macro video? And with the Note 8 Pro, you can actually take a macro video. You can get super creative, and in fact, that's exactly what our camera team did. And let me show you a video that's been shot on the Note 8 Pro, and you can see the prowess of the macro lens here. Now we've got a 64 MP, we had ultra wide, we had a macro, and of course, let's not forget the importance of portraiture. Now portrait mode also is enabled, of course, but because we've been doing this for so long, our team thought that let's try this out in a super challenging situation. So what they did was they set up this rig of different lights at different depths so that we can actually test how the bokeh works on the Note 8 Pro. And this is the result that you get. Now what you can see is the edge detection again becomes really tough because of the super reflective clothes that she's wearing, but the entire background being blurred beautifully as you go further away really makes this product shine. And that's, of course, the portrait part of it. Now, the next one that you get with camera, and something that we've introduced recently and people have loved, is the night mode. And with night mode, you can obviously see a lot more. It helps you in challenging light conditions. And let me show you an example. Now, this has been shot on the Redmi Note 8 Pro. You can see the entire bench. You can see the light falling and reflecting off that bench. You can see the leaves at the back. You can see the lights. And this obviously is challenging because the lights are actually coming in from the back. They're all over. And of course, you can see all the grass. Now, here's the best part. This is just the normal mode. When you turn on the night mode, the party completely changes. You're able to see more details on the trees, the lights, the entire light treatment in front, at the bench. Everything is different. You're gonna love the night mode on this. And there's one more aspect of the camera, which we introduced on the Redmi K series, AI skyscaping. And AI skyscaping comes to the Redmi Note series for the very first time. And with AI skyscaping, of course, you can, at a click of a button, change the entire scenario. It changes the sky. It also, if you look at that, it changes the entire lighting of this town. Something that probably, if somebody knows Photoshop, is going to take a couple of hours to do. We don't even have to think about it because it comes on the Redmi Note 8. So, these cameras are clearly made for the photographer. You have an ultra-wide lens. You have a 64 megapixel high-resolution sensor. You have a macro mode. You have a night mode. You have AI skyscaping, a portrait mode. You have 4K recording, and even up to 960 frames per second super slow motion video recording. So that is all about the camera, but just the back camera. We also have upgraded the front camera. The front moves from the 13 megapixel. So I clearly see one group which really loves selfies. Of course, with this 20 megapixel front camera, you get all of our AI enhancements, and you also get face unlock. We think with the Redmi Note 8 Pro, you get a flagship quad camera experience. And here's a video to sum it up. And that brings me to my favorite section, performance. Where my gamers at? PUBG wale hai kya? Is COD wale a thing yet? No? Okay. Performance. Now what we realized at Xiaomi is something remarkable happened earlier last year. You started getting high resolution, high graphics, almost PC-like games onto smartphones for the very first time. And at that point, we realized that there was a bottleneck. Most of the mobile computing had been focused on the CPU part. GPU was there, but it was never that important. And in fact, that ended up being a bottleneck. We have worked very closely with the team at MediaTek to solve that. We are removing that bottleneck and giving equal importance to the GPU, perhaps a first in the segment, and you get incredible results. In fact, let me show you a couple of benchmarks first. Now, of course, you've got a couple of chipsets that are out there. You've got the Exynos 9611, you've got the Snapdragon 710, which a lot of brands have been using for almost a year and a half now, and the recent announcement of 712 chipsets. And even with 712, you get about 210,000 on Antutu. What's really interesting is, even after all of that, and even after almost 8 to 9 months of launching the Redmi Note 7 Pro, that still continues to beat all of them. Now we already have a lead, so why do we need to change it? Well, we are Xiaomi, and we obviously believe in pushing it to the next level. So on the Redmi Note 8 Pro, you get a 34% bump in performance, taking it to the next level. At 280,000 plus score, there's nothing else in and around which can even come close. And this has been possible thanks to the Helio G90T chipset. And here's a fun fact. The G in the G90T stands for gaming. So we were that serious. Now how does that happen? It has a very similar high-powered architecture that you see on more of the flagship devices. You've got 2 Cortex A76, and these are the performance cores. Along with that, you've got 6 Cortex A55 cores built for efficiency. And all of that drives a lot more power, a lot more performance. But not just that. Of course, we said we want to focus on graphics. It comes with a quad-core GPU clocked up to 800 megahertz. And this is what starts making a difference. How much difference? Well, again, if you're playing PUBG, you can go all the way to extreme. That is 60 frames per second on the smooth setting. And because this display supports HDR, when you have HDR enabled, you can go all the way to ultra. Now, on its own, these are super impressive, but how does it compare with the competition? Well, if you've got HDR enabled in graphics, the Note 8 Pro goes all the way to ultra. Competition doesn't even support it. Okay. Let's tone it down. HD. You still go to ultra, the others can only get to high. And when you go into smooth, you are going up all the way to extreme, others are still limited at ultra. And that's where it starts making a difference. That's where you're going to get that chicken dinner, and that is what you need. Of course, this has been a favorite, but we had a recent new announcement, and even on Call of Duty, you're able to hit very high across graphics and frame rate. In fact, I've been playing this. It's quite interesting, at least the frontline mode. I quite like that though. So now that's what you get across games, and of course you can try it across any particular game. This device just rips through any game that you put at it.